আমাকে
I have started.
if you Gargi, if you can if
Yeah.
Yeah, we have started and we are live. I'm Gargi Raut and joining me today is Devashi Sen, Moria Mojumdar and Shomik Chakrabarti, who's just witnessed the match, the first day of the test match between India and Bangladesh. Well, India have ended the day with, I don't think the match has ended yet, but right now we have 339 runs for the loss of 6 wickets. I believe this is not something Indian fans, these are not figures that Indian fans might have wanted to hear, but anyway, let's talk about the positives of this match, which is the fact that Ashwin and Jadeja have once again saved the day for India. How many times has this happened that Ashwin and Jadeja have come in clutch and absolutely saved the match? And Ashwin, a century. What an incredible century from Ashwin as well. Uh, Shomik, let's start with you. You're on ground. Tell us what's it like over there. First of all, is it what are the conditions like, and of course, speak about how Ashwin and Jadeja really changed the course of this match.
Gargi, before coming to Ashwin and Jadeja, I would like to break the day's play in two or three layers. First of all, Bangladesh won the toss and chose to field in overcast conditions. And they bowled brilliantly in the first session. I mean, they bowled a very disciplined length. Hassan Mahmood moved the ball both ways to put India under pressure. Of course, there were a couple of soft dismissals, all right, but then you got to give the credit where it is due. So from that point of view, and then at 144 for 6, India were under serious pressure. The fight back from there, that is the most heartening thing from the Indian fans' point of view. See, over the last few years, Jadeja has become the crisis man as far as Indian batting is concerned, irrespective of conditions. And Ashwin's love affair with Chepa continues, in the sense that 3 years ago, he scored a century here against England after India had lost the first test, and that century was very important. And today also he scored a century. See the atmosphere. I mean, it's a working day. Not many people turned up to watch the game. Although Chennai loves its Test cricket, but I mean, some exquisite shots were played by both Jadeja and Ashwin, and from that point of view, overall, I, see the first session was won by Bangladesh. The second session was a tie. Second session was sort of a tie. The third session went in India's favor. And I think that third session, in the context of the game, could prove to be the game breaker.
Moria, over to you as well. You know, I saw your tweet, and you specified how many times have Jadeja and Ashwin done this for India, but at this time they really saved the day because that was a very shaky start.
Yeah, I mean, I agree and disagree with Shomik. I think I agree with Shomik when he said this was a game breaker. I think Bangladesh is done. I think Bangladesh is done. 340 for 6 means Bangladesh is done. When you have 144 for 6, you're expecting the opposition to get bowled out for 200, 225, 250 maximum, especially when the ball was still moving around. When you see that Nahid Rana spell, Jasaswi Jaiswal gone, KL Rahul, another soft dismissal, you're like, come on, we've got this game, 200 India done, and we've got to take control. And from there on, 3.5 hours later, 2.5 hours later, you've conceded 6 runs and over or 5.5 runs and over for the last 2.5 hours. You've completely lost the plot. 340 means 400 tomorrow morning. Bangladesh is gone in this match. It's as simple as that. And that's how it is. The first two sessions were Bangladesh. When India goes to tea at 170 odd for 6, it's Bangladesh. 88 runs either session, Bangladesh. And then in the third session, this is the difference between a great team and a decent team. Bangladesh still doesn't have India is a great team. Under Kosh, Pakistan, 170 for 6, they would have collapsed for 200. India, under pressure, goes to 340 for 6 because of Ashwin and Jadeja. That is the difference between a Pakistan and an India. That is the difference between an India. Had India got Bangladesh for 175 for 6 with Bumrah there and with the rest of the bowlers 200 all out. Simple. That's what Ashwin does. Each time you talk to Ravi Ashwin, by the way, day before yesterday on his birthday, we're having a chat, and he's like, I just love this game. You ask him, what are you doing there? You've done everything. He will tell you, I love this game. That's it. He plays this game because he lives this game. And that is why I think Ravichandran Ashwin is one of the greatest things to happen to India. As an all-rounder, the guy doesn't get deserved, the credit that he deserves. He is one of the greatest all-rounders to play for India, as is Ravindra Jadeja. Look at the counter-attack, Gargi. He comes in 12 runs of 8 balls. KL Rahul, 16 runs of 52 balls, puts the pressure back on everybody. For God's sake, he needs to change this approach. He absolutely needs to change this approach. The moment Ravindra Jadeja and Ravichandran Ashwin comes in, runs start coming in a flurry, the field gets dispersed, Bangladesh has to think what is going on, and within half an hour, 1 hour, India takes control. That's the story of this test match.
Devashish, tell us about what you thought. I'm not sure how much of the match you caught because you're at
Boria,
the East Bengal.
Boriada and Shomik has said everything what I was about to say.
Tell us about
Obviously,
what happened at
means
practice.
It was all Bangladesh the first two sessions. Means 28 for 3. You had the three best Indian batters back in the heart. Come back after the lunch. Immediately they gets the wicket of Rishabh Pant, followed by the wickets of KL Rahul and Yashasvi Jaiswal, who looked great, in great shape after that 50, and he was all set to go on to that to another 100. But again, that flashy stroke. But let me just point out, means I was very impressed with the way Nahid Rana actually got the wicket of Yashasvi Jaiswal. Actually, he built up in inciting him to make a mistake, and that was a perfect delivery, and taking the edge of the left-hander and going to the slip. So that to me was the best delivery in the match. But then talking about Bangladesh, it's not. They have to understand that it is not Pakistan, as Muriada rightly said. I was about to say that, but then and this is what makes this Indian team one of the best in contemporary cricket. See last 17 series they haven't lost at home, and it's incredible, and it's looking one way from here on. Now Bangladesh have to save this test match. To save this test match, they have to bat out of their skins, and someone like a Litan Das or a Shakib Al Hasan or a Mushfiqur Rahim, they have to play out, means a great knock to save this test match for Bangladesh.
Tell us about
হবে না হবে না
The,
ওসব
the,
হবে না বাংলাদেশ এখান থেকে কিচ্ছু করতে পারবে না এটা স্পেসিফ কিচ্ছু করতে পারবে না। ওই 144-এর পরে যখন 200 রান কনসিড করে ও গল্প শেষ। শ্রমিক ওখানে কয়েকদিন পরে চেন্নাইয়ের ওই সি বিচে চা খেতে খেতে ম্যাচ রিপোর্ট লিখবে and we will all celebrate together. Bangladesh is done with Devashish. All of us know.
And I think we are heading for a fourth day finish.
yeah.
Gargi, Devashish has mentioned Yashasvi Jaiswal. I give you an interesting story about Yashasvi. A couple of days before the start of the match, Yashasvi was having a net session in one of the practice pitches. He was facing Bumrah and the other Indian fast bowlers and spinners, and he was all over the place. All He was absolutely all over the place. He was sent to another nets for a knocking. He came back and his struggle continued. From that perspective, coming back into a test match, yes, he played and missed. He played and missed. He was completely opened up by that ninth run delivery. But scoring a half century in a test spoke volumes for his grit. That grit is needed. So Yashasvi Jaiswal was not at his best, but he showed grit. That was fine. And absolutely very rightly Goria pointed about KL Rahul. That 16 runs of 52 balls was neither here nor there, and it put the pressure back on everybody.
Yeah. We have a few
Why
questions from chat.
I like good reporters. Look at this observation. That this is a good reporter's observation who has watched the net session. He had watched Yashasvi Jaiswal. That's why Shomik, Devashish, when these people are at the nets, they are watching the net session. Anyone watching wants to be a journalist. This is what the observation skill is all about. That this guy was not at his best. He comes back and he shows grit. And by the way, that first session, I was off and on watching that first session. That ball was jagging, boss. That ball, when Nahid Rana bowled his first over, every ball was going here to the wicketkeeper. I mean, come on. There was juice. Balls were going from here to there. Rishabh Pant, when he came in, the first ball, Rishabh did not even know how much that ball climbed up. So it was doing a lot. There was that moisture, which is why both teams wanted to bowl first. So it was not easy for Yashasvi Jaiswal. More when he sees Rohit Sharma get out, when he sees Shubman Gill get out, when he sees Virat Kohli get out. And by the way, Shubman Gill also enough and more chances. You've got to convert. You are the next big boy of Indian cricket. When will the boy become the man is the question that needs to be asked. And harsh questions need to be asked because Shubman Gill has now been around for a good 4 or 5 years. When is the next big thing happening? Against England, outside of gone. Today, pathetic shot again gone. This is a problem. You have an excellent middle order and a lower middle order, which is why you're getting rescued. Add Akshar Patel to this team, and you know that 6, 7, 8 can be match winners on any surface. But the top order, how many times has it happened in recent times, Gargi and Devashish, when your top order has completely lost the plot, and it is the middle order that has come to the rescue? I love Rishabh Pant also, by the way. Again, the approach, that 39 of 50 balls, the counter attack, the pre-lunch counter attack from Rishabh Pant, I thought was excellent. And that is where I had issues with KL Rahul. The man has talent, but he does not know what to do with his talent. He's neither here nor there. Someone needs to sit him down and say, hello, this 16 ball 52, as Shomik said, is neither here nor there. It is getting you nowhere. It is getting you nowhere. Ravi Shastri, I think, was on commentary and he said, KL Rahul will shift gears. That gear shift did not come. A soft dismissal, 144 for 6. If India was 200 all out, trust you me, today at this point in time, KL Rahul would be the talk and KL Rahul would be taken to the cleaners. Ashwin and Jadeja saved that. But that does not take away from the fact that Shubman Gill and KL Rahul need to do a lot more, because you want them to perform and perform to an extent where we keep talking these guys up. Shubman Gill, next big thing, next big thing. When is this next big thing happening is something we want to know. And that can only happen with performance. We haven't got that yet.
Tanmay Saha is
Very,
also
very well said. And sorry,
yeah.
very, very well said. And I would like to mention where have the Pujaras gone? Who would wear down the bowlers? Who would play on the mind of the bowlers? I'm not saying based on just one innings to bring Pujara back to the fold, but mind you, in the last two Test series in Australia that we have won, we wouldn't have won without Cheteshwar Pujara. So where is the price tag on the wicket from Shubman Gill? That is my question.
Yeah, yeah. We have some questions. I'd like to take them and engage with our viewers a little bit. Tanmay Saha was speaking about KL Rahul as well. He's saying India played well in two phases, before KL and after KL. During KL played, it was horrible cricket all around. Well, Boria just spoke about it, so we'll take some other question. Chandan Das Thakur. Finding replacement of Ashwin and Jadeja combo will be tougher than Roko combo. Devashish, what do you think about a time when there's no Ashwin and Jadeja in the Indian team? Who will replace them? Such a void.
Yeah, absolutely, yes, and rightly said so by Chandan. Means it will be really tough. Means someone who has picked 36 FIFA and 6 Test 100, and so incredible by Ravi Chandran Ashwin, and time and again he is proving that what a cricketer he is turning out to be for India, and same can be said about Ravindra Jadeja as well. So when you have these two in the middle, that means obviously that there's a calm in the dressing room, because the team management also understands, means that you have someone who can be relied upon, and that is what they are proving it time and again. So it would yes, definitely, when if India do not have a replacement of Ravi Ashwin, yes, in Ravindra Jadeja and Ravi, yes, but at the same time Rohit and Kohli are also great batters in their own right. So I won't say that, means it would be difficult, but in all when it it will be really tough to find replacements for these four players if they when they call it a day.
See,
Yeah.
Gargi, the point is very simple. When Australia was the greatest team in the world, it was not just Magra and Vaughan. It was also about the Hayden, the Langers, the Ponting, and everybody else. So, an Indian team is the best team in the world at this point in time, or one of the best, because there is a Rohit, there is a Virat, there is an Ashwin, then there is a Jadeja. So, it's not about these two and these two. If you take two of these fellows out, then it's not the best team. That's why it's called Test cricket. It's called a team game. It is not one fellow going out there and play. You absolutely have an Akshar Patel who has shown you that he can do what a Jadeja does. He is as good with the bat. And on domestic conditions, in these kind of conditions, Akshar Patel will be your replacement for Ravindra Jadeja. As far as Ravichandran Ashwin goes, I don't think there is a replacement. I want to see Washington Sundar, but Washington Sundar hasn't done. At least we have not seen that yet. Ravichandran Ashwin is a different class. 500 test wickets don't happen like that. Same as Jadeja. 300 plus test wickets don't happen like that. That is why they are greats of this format. But tell me one thing. Why is it that we are thinking of replacements? This is the age of sports science. Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja can absolutely play on for 3 more years. So why is it that we are talking about Ravindra Jadeja needs to be replaced? Ravichandran Ashwin, but take them out of white ball. I don't need to see them in white ball. You have replacements in white ball. Akshar Patel has proven that, and I can make a prediction today. I don't think Ravichandran Ashwin is going to play white ball cricket for India anymore. He doesn't need to. And if India understands it, and I don't want to say more. I really don't want to say more on this because then but I can tell you this that red ball Ravi Ashwin will be protected with cotton wool at least for another couple of years. So I don't think the replacement question or the retirement question is happening anytime soon. India doesn't need that to happen.
And there's one question that I will direct towards Debashish because he is at the Mohan Bagan practice right now. Shuman Goswami, Anwar Ali update.
There is no update. There is no update. If there is an update, we will come
No
back.
update. No update.
If
I
there is
think
an
now
Anwar
you
Ali
guys
update,
are
we will
getting
come
tired
back.
of this question.
No, update
Anwar
hole
Ali.
আমরা দিয়ে দেবো. Update, when there is an update, we will come back and give that update immediately. At this point in time, there is no further update. We will come back and give you the update the moment PSC gives a verdict. The last is what we said. We think an NOC will come. We think Anwar will play a few games for East Bengal because there will be a time lag between the NOC and the time the suspension or the ban is imposed. We 100% think there is a ban coming. We also think there is a compensation coming. So there will be a time lag. We have to see what is that time lag based on which East Bengal will get Anwar to play a few games. That's what is going to happen. When that happens, we will come and tell you. And as quickly that happens, we will come and give you the order also.
Absolutely. But if there's an update on the practice session you'd like to give our viewers, Debashish, in Bengali, our football viewers that are watching this.
Nothing much, Gargi, because the focus is at the Salt Lake Stadium where Rohan right now is present because East Bengal and Mohammedan have to have ISL matches. Mohammedan next play against Northeast United, and tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and East Bengal will travel to Kerala to take on Kerala Blasters. So that's where the focus is all about. But talking about Mohun Bagan, yes, they would be disappointed. Their fans will be disappointed. The fact that they had the match in their hand, when they could have easily scored at least 2 to 3 goals and can win it last night, but then that was not the case. And we have and it was unfortunate for the fans. Means the public memory is so short-lived. Means someone of the stature of Jose Molina, after three, four, after at the beginning of the season, you start shouting, "Go back, Molina!" That was uncalled for. Means I have also, and someone has tweeted. I have also tweeted. Means that's not the way. You have to back your team. Means and it's not for only one team. Means any team that you support, you have to back your team. And obviously, with the passage of time, this Mohun Bagan team can do wonders. So it's too early to just write off Molina. But then, as I said, means obviously the focus now will be Mohun Bagan's focus now will be to in ISL before they take on again shift their focus for ACL to gain because that game is a little bit sometime away. That is on 2nd of October. So for the time now, they will be preparing for ISL. But the focus in football, if you ask me, the next 2 matches will be very important for both East Bengal and Mohammedan Sporting.
And final couple of questions before we end the show with the Ashwin exclusive. Freaking awesome here has asked a nice question. He's asking, it is not about finding replacements. The question is, are we picking our best 15 across all formats? Too many chances for certain players, not a fair run for certain players. Shomik, what do you think about this?
See the way things work. in that dressing room, there is a feeling that that particular player is good and I will back him. Suppose X player is good and I will back him. So that kind of mindset works in a cricket or any for any sport. This is true. So this is the case, and players who have performed in the past, they are allowed to be given a long run. But don't forget that India have very good bench strength. Suppose, for example, KL Rahul, if he slips, there is a Sarfraz Khan waiting in the wings to take his place. So you cannot take, he cannot, or anybody for that matter, cannot take his place for granted. That is the beauty of this. That is the beauty of Indian cricket, and I don't think there is absolutely any favoritism or anything. I mean, some proven performers are given an extended run, maybe, but I mean, there are players who have been snapping on at their heels.
Yep, most definitely. Chicken Shop here is saying, Boya, the one exclusive interview with Habas, please. He deserves it.
আরে ওর ইংরেজিটা বলতে পারে না। আনফরচুনেটলি হাবাসের সাথে প্রবলেম হচ্ছে, ইন্টারভিউ করতে গেলে হাবাস ডাজন্ট স্পিক দ্য ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ ওয়েল, সো he will speak in monosyllables, and it's very difficult to do a proper interview with Habas, because that has been the case in all my 10 years of knowing Habas since 2014. That was the first time I interviewed Habas in Spain, and from then also Habas finds, I mean, it is very difficult to kind of understand or even communicate with Habas, and that's an issue when someone doesn't get the language. So that's a problem from my end also. I don't speak Spanish. It's a problem from his end because he doesn't speak English. So that's an issue. But coming back to the point that Shomik was making, look, you know, this Indian team has a wealth of reserves, and that is where, I mean, it is not about being critical of KL Rahul or Shubman Gill, but KL Rahul, after that South Africa, there is a reason. I was seeing a stat today that since KL Rahul made his debut, India has played 95 tests, KL Rahul has played 51. There is a reason to it. Why has he missed 44 test matches? Why has KL either injured, or there is a problem with him, or he has, how is it that somebody who has played 50 plus test matches with this talent has an average of 34? Tell me, how is it that KL Rahul has an average of 34? Clearly, if he has an average of 34, means he's an average test match player, because you've been around for a good decade. KL Rahul is not a rookie that he has come yesterday. If over a period of time you have an average of 34 in test match cricket, Virat Kohli doesn't have an average of 34, 50. Rohit Sharma has an average of mid 40. Even when Ajinkya sort of was asked to leave the team, he had an average of mid 40. Cheteshwar Pujara mid 40s, late 40s. So Indian team had averages between mid 40s and early 50s. That is the strength of this team. What is Rishabh Pant's average? 44, not 34. So there is an issue here. You have to address the elephant in the room. KL Rahul has not done justice to his talent, and he should be the first person to put his hand up and say, I have not. He has loads more talent than what we see. The man seems completely confused mentally. That's the problem. He has the talent, he has the potential, but he doesn't know what is, what approach to adapt. Shubman Gill, since that 2000, I mean, under 19 World Cup, that 100 against Pakistan, we have been saying, here comes the successor to Virat Kohli. If you see that last series against Jimmy Anderson, same, he comes forward, edge gone. Then that 100. Where is the consistency from Shubman Gill that you had from a Cheteshwar Pujara, tell me? When Cheteshwar Pujara was at his prime, you know that my number 3 is solid. My number 3 means he will win a series against Australia. He will win a series against in home conditions. Are you getting that kind of thing from Shubman Gill? He's shaky. 1 out 50, 0 out of 15 balls, couple of edges misses, and then a rash this thing and gets a tickle down the leg side. I mean, where is the consistency that you get from Shubman Gill? That's the problem, because there are people waiting there. There is a Shreyas Iyer outside. There is a Sarfaraz Khan who's waiting. There are many guys waiting outside and who are scoring runs now, who will come and push these fellows. That's the issue. They need to make their spaces count, and not just, these are important opportunities, Gargi, important opportunities. You are going to Australia, you will be tested. They will come for you. Pat Cummins and the lot will come for you every ball. So you've got to be at your best to be able to deal with Australia.
Absolutely. I think that was spot on. And on that note, I think we can end the show because we have a very special Ashwin exclusive that Boria sir had done yesterday. We had posted it yesterday, but to everyone who's missed it, we'll play it once again. Thank you so much, Devashish, Boria, and Shomik for joining. We'll be back tomorrow morning as well before the match starts. So don't forget to join us then. And also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Take a look at an Ashwin exclusive right now.
Special interview with one of my favorite cricketers of all time. You know, we talk about sport, we talk about cricket, and the first thing is extra fitness, highly physically agile, and all of that. I mean, you might be not the fittest child, you might have issues like Ashwin did, wheezing and cough, and several other things. But if you pursue your passion with commitment and dream for it, it can happen. Can you tell me about that phase?
Look, I think I'm very thankful to the neighborhood I grew up in, Boria, because there were these neighborhood uncles who used to feel, I mean, they were very close. And you know how the 90s households would look like, the neighborhoods, right? And you live in Calcutta, and the neighborhoods are really tight and thick. And the locality I live in is pretty much similar. People are very tightly knit. My father and the uncles next door, they used to, we used to invite them for chai, and we used to watch cricket together. That's the sort of neighborhood I grew up in. But the one thing that I would really thank my, elder friends that I played with was for the sheer competitive edge they gave me all through my life. I was the youngest in that group. I used to play alongside them. They gave me the opportunity to do that. And because of that, I never feared anything. And I think I started to believe that I could conquer anything and everything. Even though I was, like you said, not the most gifted, I had my own challenges. I used to feel that anything could be overcome. Maybe not necessarily, toe to toe. I could never be a Usain Bolt. But very early on in life, I realized that my limitations had to be conquered through other strengths that I could bring to the table. And I used to constantly think, okay, this is my weakness. How do I combat it? So the overall dismissal at the non-striker's end stemmed from that, because I used to be a slow runner between the wickets, and I used to cop a lot for that. I used to take extra, distance as soon as the bowler delivered the ball. I used to start running. And if I wanted to get a couple of twos, I used to step out on purpose early on to try and counter the ball on either side of the pitch to get a couple of twos. Just started thinking like that. And then I realized, okay, maybe this is an edge. I should probably run the batsman out at the non-strikers. And so I started thinking about how to combat all this because of the limitations I had. Look, I think we all are born with some strengths and born with limitations. But I think if you can use your strengths to cover up your limitations, you will probably even things out.
Tell me something, moving on. When that incident, when the doctor from Apollo said, you don't need that operation, when you were suggested surgery, and then for the 6 odd weeks, you could not move, you said, quote, you had to pee, you had to poop in bed, you couldn't move, you couldn't be, holding a bat, they had hidden the bat. We talk about mental health, we talk about mental strength and all of that. Tell me about that phase. I didn't know about this. I mean, you had told me a lot of these stories in the past, but this one I did not know. How challenging. And as a kid who loved to do what he did, and you went through that and you continue. Tell me about that.
You know what was the most horrible feeling of being in bed? For starters, the doctor, I believe, is one of those, one of those angels that turned up in my life. I've constantly shown gratitude to people that have come all the way in my life. Because if every one of those blocks don't happen at the right time, you don't make it anywhere in your life. When I was about to take the surgery, and then he said, you don't have to, it was a huge sigh of relief for the family. We remember, we literally celebrated. He said, 6 weeks on, you're going to go on traction. My father was like, huge relief. We literally celebrated. We, bought sweets and distributed to the people. My aunt, we distributed sweets and all. And I went home. But the most, I never knew I was getting into, I never knew what I was getting into. It was excruciatingly painful 6 weeks, because for me, it was not about pooping or, pissing or somebody. I used to be all alone in the house because both my parents were working. If I heard a bell, I used to be scared. I was all of 13. I used to be scared if somebody was breaking into the house, who the person was, etc., etc. But what was most painful was at 4 p.m. in the evening, I used to hear children play. All my friends used to be on the road. They used to shout 4, 6. And I remember vividly one of those 5th weeks or something, I was hanging around with the legs. And then I just started to turn around to just peep out of the window to see who those kids were playing and all that. And which is when I caught a glimpse of myself on the mirror for the first time, because I was eating. And the only way I was combating my stress levels without my own knowledge, 13-year-old child, I had no idea. I mean, I used to just jump. That was my only way of coping with what I was going through. And I saw myself in the mirror and I was shocked. My face had swollen up this big. I had put on so much weight and nobody even spoke about it. And after the 6th week mark, when I wore my school uniform, I didn't fit into it. My buttons weren't going. And I was like, oh my God, man, what the hell? What have I just done to myself? I turned up in school class, and as I entered the class, right, I would just ask permission with the teacher, please may I come in? And she was like, every one of my classmates just looked at me and said, and it was like a huge shock for me.
Does it inspire you in Australia when Preeti and that Australian, whoever put you into the bathtub and you went out? I mean, have you did these incidents inspire you all your life in that Australia tour, that come what may, so what if I have to stand? I don't care. I'll go and bat for India and do it. I'll break every possible human barrier of pain. Has all of this impacted these kind of Ashwin miracles?
See, this is why I keep saying the same thing. I think I've said this before also. I may not be good enough. You may not like me for who I am. My direct straightforwardness might not cut ice with a lot of people. My questioning, you may not like. My arguments, you may not like. But if you ever said that I would shirk away from a fight, that would be very disappointing for me. That's what I've always told in my life. Every one of my steps and every one of those stages have only been fights. Not necessarily with people, with my own self, with my own limitations, with people that have come in the way, with organizations that may have come in the way, with powers that hold me that have come in the way. All these things, very small, minor battles that I never come out and express because I take pride in it. Everybody has to go through challenges, and I am going through one. So I think I don't look at these as challenges. I find ways to combat them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And what happened in Australia was just that. I tried to find a way to combat it. Try and stay on the back foot, block a ball, try and get through the first 15, 20 balls. I tried to combat it. One of those days it worked. There have been several other days where my failures have been within me. I have tried to combat it, but I failed. So that's just who I am, and I'm very organic to myself. But one thing, I will fight. Even if you put me in front of the most strongest person, and I have to live. It has to be a fight within a cage, and I have to live. It won't matter to me. I will take the fight on. Thank you so much, and really appreciate what you've done. Thank you.
Appreciate and thank you very much.